Boys, today we are back, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the Ilia, Topuria, and Adin Ross interview / stream that they did. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this. I did not watch this in full. I just watched the clips on Twitter and a little bit on YouTube. Yes, I am employed. I do have a full-time job, so I was not able to watch this in full. Even though it did happen at night, I had shit to do, all right? I am employed. Hopefully one day this will be my job, but for right now, it's not, so let's get right into it. He had a ton of sound bites, a lot of clips that went pretty viral. So first off, we're going to start right here. Ilia Topuria says he is fighting this summer, but doesn't know if he'll be fighting on the White House card yet. And another Spanish outlet came out, a guy that does a lot with Topuria, I think is something like something. It starts with an O, but he said that the fight with Justin Gaethje at the White House is in jeopardy because of logistical things with they don't want a Spanish / Georgian guy knocking out a U.S. guy in the main event. So I don't know if that's true. I think that might just be clickbait or some shit. But he also said the fight at the White House probably won't happen. And then Topuria said here that he doesn't know if he'll be fighting on the White House card yet. And they already, according to Dana, the White House card is done. So I don't think Topuria will be fighting on the White House card, sadly. I think McGregor's going to be on it. He'll probably be the main event. Probably no Jones, probably no Pereira. If this fight's not happening, then I think it's a guaranteed Conor McGregor versus someone. I'm not sure who Conor would fight, but there's Nate Diaz, there's Jorge, there's Michael Chandler. There's a no name like Conor said. So, but this video isn't about Conor, but he said he believes his next fight will be Justin Gaethje, which sucks because, obviously we want to see him against Islam at 170. We want to see him against Arman. We want to see a Charles rematch. Yes, I just said that. We do want to see Charles claim the belt over Ilia Topuria. Oh my God, we're 1 week away from a Charles fight. I'm so nervous, but I'm excited. Anyway, it's a different video. He says he'll fight Justin Gaethje next, which sucks because he's going to spark out Gaethje in a round, guaranteed. I will literally fucking delete my channel. I'll fucking move away. I'll fucking live homeless for a fucking year if Justin Gaethje beats fucking Ilia Topuria. There's just no chance that happens. So, which sucks. He says he'll fight Justin Gaethje next, which isn't ideal, but yeah, moving on. This is pretty interesting here. Ilia Topuria says Jake Paul is a bad boxer. As a boxer, I think he sucks. He's a very bad boxer. And I'll show another clip, him and Jake Paul actually talk. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I really don't give a shit about boxing or Jake Paul. But yeah, Ilia Topuria says Jake Paul is a bad boxer. And, I'm going to take Ilia's word. If Ilia thinks Jake's a bad boxer, then he's probably not a good boxer. I don't watch a lot of Jake fights. I really don't give a shit about the sport of boxing. I haven't really watched any big boxing fights. I watch Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Call me a casual. I don't know. It's really the only boxing fights I've ever watched. I rewatched the McGregor versus Mayweather boxing fight, but other than that, I don't watch boxing, so I can't really spend too much time on this. But if Ilia says Jake's a bad boxer, then he's probably a bad boxer. Yeah. I watched Jake. Who did Jake just fight? I did watch Jake versus Anthony Joshua, and he looked not good, but he was skirting around the ring. But that's what you have to do against a heavyweight when you're 200 pounds. So a real heavyweight like Joshua who's 240, 250 probably. So I didn't hate Jake for that performance. It gained me even more respect for him, even though I don't really usually watch his fights. But yeah, if Ilia thinks he's a bad boxer, he's probably a bad boxer. Let's go to that clip up here. Right here, Ilia Topuria and Jake Paul. This went crazy. This has 1 million views. They went back and forth on Twitter. Jake Paul said, "Let's spar. When I beat your ass in sparring, what are you gonna say?" And Topuria was throwing some hot shots in there, when your jaw gets healed, let's do it. But I don't really have a lot to say about this because I don't give a shit about boxing. Obviously, Ilia Topuria would fucking box the ears off fucking Jake Paul. That's not even a question. I don't know. I think Jake's just saying this obviously for the clout. He just does shit for the clout, so. Obviously, Ilia would win. Jake Paul knows he wouldn't win that. But I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Moving on. Ilia Topuria. This is the shit we want to see, right? This is the shit we want to see. Ilia Topuria says he wants to fight Islam for a custom pound-for-pound belt. Now, that's generally just never going to happen. The UFC will never do some cool shit like that. They're probably going to fight at 170 because Islam's too afraid to move back down to 55. Yes, I said that. I do think Islam is afraid of fighting Topuria. Not afraid. I think he's not afraid to fight. I think he's afraid to lose. And he wants easier matchups. So yeah, I think Islam would only take that fight at 170. But Ilia said he wants to fight Islam for a custom pound for pound belt. That will never happen. But he also said perfect scenario would be me fighting him at welterweight, which That's a savage move by Topuria, going up 3 weight classes. The first time anyone ever would be a 3-weight world champion. That'd be cinema. And I'd want Ilia to win. I'm a fan of Ilia, even though he did my boy Charles so fucking dirty. Charles is my favorite fighter of all time. So there's a little bit of hate in there for Ilia for what he did to Charles. But, I mean, it is just a job and a sport at the end of the day. But, fuck that. Enough. Fuck Ilia just a little bit. I am a big fan, but just for a little bit because of what he did to Charles. But if he goes up and fights Islam at 170, I'll be rooting for Ilia. I do like Islam too, don't get me wrong. I don't like him as much as Topuria because I think Topuria is way more exciting. I'm a guy who prefers knockouts over grappling, so call me a casual if you want, but that's just my preference. But yeah, he said he wants to go up and fight at 170. And the reason this fight isn't happening is because of Islam Makhachev. Don't get that wrong, right? Ilia Topuria was moving up to 155 and Islam vacated. Like, that's just the thing. This fight is not happening because of Islam Makhachev. It's not because of Topuria. Topuria's trying to chase this guy, bro. This fight is not happening because Islam Makhachev does not want to fight Ilia Topuria. He knows it will be a hard fight. He knows he has a potential of getting knocked out. When Islam fights these other guys, he sees like fucking food, bro. Like, it's literally easy for him to beat these other guys. But when he faces a guy like Topuria, I think he knows and he sees a hard fight, and that's why he doesn't want to fight Topuria. But if Topuria gets like 2 more wins over like a fucking Justin Gaethje and then an Arman, before Charles gets the chance to sleep him and become the lightweight champion again, him moving up to 170 would just be so badass. And Islam couldn't run anymore. Where's he going to go? He might retire. Islam might genuinely retire instead of having to fight Ilia Topuria. Mark my words. If that happens, come back to this video. Moving on. Ilia Topuria says he doesn't think Arman Tsarukyan is his toughest matchup, which is kind of crazy. I think in the lightweight division, not including Islam, not including Charles, I think Arman Tsarukyan is definitely the most challenging. I think Ilia's just saying this to rile up Tsarukyan. Don't get me wrong. I think Ilia would beat Tsarukyan, but I think it would be a tough fight. But who knows? Ilia showed that fucking Charles grappling. Like, Ilia ran through Charles in the grappling. I can't believe I just said that, but I mean, it did happen. I'm a realist. He didn't run through him, but he did beat him in the grappling in that fight. And Charles did good against grappling against Arman. So I'm doing a little MMA math, which I know obviously doesn't always work. But yeah, Ilia says Arman is easy. With me, he'll panic. You're going to have to kill me. And guess what? I love my family. I'm not ready to die, which is just crazy thing to say. But he doesn't see Arman as a threat, and I think he genuinely believes this. I think he knows it will be a tougher fight than, say, like a Gaethje, or in his mind probably a Charles, even though Charles is a better matchup against Ilia than Arman. Yes, I said that. Yes, I'm being for real. But I think the grappling in this fight would just be amazing to see where Topuria's grappling really does stand up. I think that was a fluke in the Charles fight with the grappling. He got lucky landing on top after Charles went for the throw against the fence. Yeah. I think this will be a banger fight. I want this fight instead of the Gaethje fight, even though that's not going to happen. But hopefully Ilia sticks around. He fights Gaethje, and then he fights Tsarukyan, moves up, Charles versus like a fucking BSD or someone for the fucking vacant belt, and we get the belt back. But he's talking a little bit of shit about Arman. This is the fight I really want to see, though. Everyone wants to see Ilia versus Arman and Ilia versus Makhachev. No one wants to see the Gaethje fight, which sucks that it's going to happen. But, I mean, UFC doesn't fucking care about what anyone fucking wants. They only care about fucking money. So they'll probably never make those 2 fights, and we'll get like Ilia versus fucking BSD or some bullshit after he beats Gaethje. But anyway, moving on. Adin Ross asked him, what do you think about Dan? This is just a little funny moment. What do you think about Dan Hooker? Ilia asked what happened. Adin says he's, the Dan Hooker files. And Ilia, nice guy, says, congrats, Dan. Ilia's a funny guy. I'm not going to lie. He takes jokes well. And this, from what I can see, I didn't watch the whole thing, but it looks like Ilia was having a good time, being funny. So which is good. We have a little bit of personality. And then this is pretty interesting. The fight I want more than Ilia versus Makhachev and Ilia versus Arman is Ilia versus Conor. That fucking buildup would just be insane. The actual fight, like 2 to 3 years ago, I'm talking about, would have just been insane. But obviously, that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, Ilia Topuria, told Conor McGregor to pull up to him in Spain. I know they have a little bit of beef. This is obviously never going to happen, but it was just a little, interesting. I think if Ilia had Islam, Arman, and Conor all on the table, and he could pick his next opponent, I wonder what he would choose. Would he choose Conor for the payday and like the biggest fucking pay-per-view probably of all time, if they did pay-per-view? Or would he choose Islam at 170, or would he choose or would he choose Arman at 155 for like an easier fight? That would be an interesting scenario. But yeah, they played UFC 5, and yeah, that's pretty much all that happened. yeah, pretty entertaining stuff from Ilia. It's nice to finally see him do an interview. I feel like I haven't seen Ilia in the news other than like the bad shit. I haven't seen like good Ilia content in a long ass time. So it's nice to see him back. We haven't seen him since June. So it's nice to see him back in the light, making some jokes, calling some people out, making some headlines. So let me know what you guys thought of this, little interview / stream. Please like, subscribe, and comment, what your favorite part of this was, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.